All right, everybody. Ooh, Griff, you don't have the thing on, you idiot.
Oh, look at that. Hey, keep talking. Do your thing. We can throw it in.
Oh, well, welcome to the Purple Podcast, everybody.
There
This
we
is
go.
your host, Austin. What a way to start 2026.
Woo!
Much like us, very sad sackish of us
Sad
to have a
sacks.
mishap in the early going here. And why not on our first episode of the new year, 2026? And what a fitting way to begin the year with the end of Stranger Things. You know, we've had some delays in maybe getting you these episodes here for volume 2 and volume 3. We are going to do them both in one episode. No sense in separating them out. We're already past due, I would say. You know, it was the holidays. Give us some leeway there if you don't mind too much in the new year. We'll keep on rocking. We'll keep on moving forward. But yes, here we are. Stranger Things, the finale. It is finally over over 10 years worth of this show. For me, at least. You guys, much newer viewers, but you've come a long way in a very short time. How you guys feeling? How you guys think it ended? You know, with this last season here, controversial one, I would say.
You take it over, Pops. What you got?
Guys, first of all, I want to say Happy New Year, boys. It was we had a
Happy
fun
New
year.
Year's.
We
Thank you
Christmas.
for that, Mike.
Absolutely. Salute.
Hey, I got a
Ding,
mug.
ding.
Salud.
Yes. Guys, we had one hell of a Christmas together. Really looked forward to Florida. Wish you'd have been there with us, Aus.
Oh,
It was a good time. It would have been even a better time with your crazy ass. So
Of course.
missed you, boy. Wish you'd have been there. Austin, to answer your question, the 5 through 7, I was kind of like, all right, it felt like you had been in a car and you'd been in just, going full speed, and then it slowed down a little bit. Right up until the time our boy Will cracked that damn leg. And then it was like, here we go. I got all excited. I like the way the brothers finished this thing off. I'm going to say that right now. There was so much on Facebook, Instagram, that all of these bad things were going to happen to our guys. Hops going, Joyce is going, Steve, our man, my guy, Steve, is going to go. So I was relieved. I got to be honest with you. I thought they went out. They went out with their boots on. I loved it. There's so many lines in there in the last episode where the guys are saying something to the effect of, hey, this is our last fight. We've got to give it our best, and we've got to fight that fight. And I like that. I just thought it was great to see the teamwork of these kids. You could see them, all of them had grown. Austin, we talk about how these kids, how each of them are as actors, and do they have chops? And I think the answer was we definitely found out the answer. All these kids can act, from Max on to Lucas to Will. Will really shined, I thought, in these last few episodes. It was really refreshing to see that kid get a chance. So, guys, I don't want to take all the airtime, but I really enjoyed it. I liked how they wrapped it up myself. What'd you think, Griff?
Well said. Kind of circling back to what you said, Austin, it is interesting in that, Dad, you and I, we just saw this.
Yeah,
we just saw any of this series for the first time together a couple of months back, and already at the very end, it almost feels a little bit like stolen valor, you could say. But at the same time, I think it's really cool that we did get to start watching before it was officially done. We at least got to experience some of the hype before this last season. I think that was really exciting, and kudos to Austin for arranging that and making that possible for us. I think that was really cool. But I myself, I know that we really enjoyed the first half of this last season. As for the second half, Austin, I was just hanging out at home, and I watched all of the second half with Dad and with my family. And after, I guess it was 5 through 7.
Volume 2.
Yeah, after volume 2, I was feeling okay. I think, Dad, you were the one who was initially a bit like, I need to watch that again. I don't know how I felt after all that, but I mean, I thought that we had some kind of standout moments for sure that made it work for me. And I do think with the final episode, we got a lot of what we wanted. It's so difficult to close off a chapter like that, right? But I mean, I think that they did a pretty fine job with it, all things considered. So that's kind of my
no doubt.
I guess my thoughts at the most basic level.
Yeah, here's something that I don't know if I came upon it in passing, but after those first 4 episodes, we left that ecstatic, pumped, saying that might have been the best moment in all of Stranger Things. And then the way 7 ended, and this is the same thing we saw with The Last of Us, the shows or the episodes that have very gay themes tend to get review bombed, and I'm sure that's part of it, but we went from a very, very high note to literally the lowest rated episode in the entire show.
You're kidding.
Volume 2. Yeah.
Even worse than season 2, episode 7?
So it is at a 5.7 in season 2, the one with Kali, which was episode 7. That's at a 6.0. So yes, that is the lowest rated episode in all of Stranger Things. And yes, that is partially because the bigots flock when something like that comes up, of course. But at the same time, I think there's also a bit mixed in with it, just the general execution of some of these things. I think this was not the best season of Stranger Things. I think it's actually probably not even one of the, top 3 best seasons. I think this one's probably competed for, second to last or last with 2, to be honest, in my opinion. I don't think I don't mean to say that because season 2 is still a good season, in my opinion. I think all these seasons are pretty good and there's a lot to get from all of them. Oh, yeah. But I think this one was pretty messy, and I don't want to say, some of the main people mailed it in, but I think also a lot of it was our supporting party and everyone around us just got really big, man. And there was only so much airtime you could give to it. So think about this. Holly, I think she got the most minutes of anyone in the entire show this season. And it's not to say Holly did bad. She did great. She was an amazing character. She was awesome. And that's a testament that it didn't completely fall through with that very bold choice. But at the same time, this show was built on our main cast, Hopper and Elle, the boys, the teenagers, and it felt like a lot of that took a back seat in a lot of ways here. I liked that they introduced Mr. Clark and brought him back, but at the same time, it kind of felt like just an add-on. They didn't give him too much to do. Even I felt left a little unsatisfied by how his involvement ended. Him and Erica did something, but it was very minimal. Same with Murray. Murray had his thing that he did, but I don't feel like he got season 4 it was season 3 at which one was it? Yeah, it was which one were they in? Goddamn Russia again. It was 4, right? Happened so damn long ago.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it was season 4, but that was a great season for Murray with Enzo and also a lot of the people that we didn't see. But how could you have done it? It would have gotten so messy and so convoluted. So I think that's some of the issues that this season ran into. It just got a little messy, and it is so difficult to close out a show. Final seasons are incredibly difficult, and I don't think even the finale was the perfect finale, but I think the last scenes, the epilogue,
yes,
gave me everything I honestly needed from the season. And you could tell that those scenes, especially the one where they're in Mike Wheeler's basement again, that scene had been written for a long, long time, probably before this thing even started, and that was an awesome scene. I cried like a baby during it. It got me hard. The nostalgia, the suffocating nostalgia where you're gasping for air, like the end of Toy Story 3, the end of Lord of the Rings, all of those. The end of that 70s show, very on topic. I said that at the very beginning of this when we started reviewing this show, that Mike Wheeler's basement felt like the foreman's basement. And that last time they walk up when it's turning to 1980 in that 70s show, the last episode, very much felt like that, as each and every one of those of our, our party, our gang, taking the steps upstairs. And how beautiful a moment to look back down and it's passed on to the younger generation. I thought it was as good as it possibly could have ended there. So as much as, in kind of finality and my thoughts on season 5, I think the first part I got really excited for. I think volume 2 lulled a bit and there were good parts in it, but I think ultimately felt like very much a bridge of 3 episodes, which kind of pissed me off to a degree. It left you wanting more for some reason. There was just something about it. We weren't losing anybody either. That was a big prediction that I definitely hadn't expected. Maybe they salvaged that with the, I guess, possible loss of L. I guess they at least gave us that sting. Otherwise, this was a completely consequence-free season, which is difficult aside from Kali. But you know what? You killed the people. You killed the person everyone likes the least. So I think those are some of my kind of overarching thoughts with it. All in all, I think it was a good season, and I think it left me very content. And the thing is, man, we're just going to get spinoffs now too. So that's the thing. It's not even like we've really lost Hawkins or this. We're going to get different kind of forms of media. There's already books. There's a goddamn play. So like we can still revisit the world in different ways, which is, nice to keep that door open. But this chapter has, seemingly closed entirely, aside from the murmurings. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about this, that there's going to be a secret episode 9 released on January 7th.
Whoa! Tomorrow?
I don't subscribe to it. I think people are coping, but
well, I was literally just thinking, I was like, man, do you guys really think this thing's done? I mean, I don't know. Kids are still pretty young. I think there's some juice left. Hey, you know what? You know what episode 9 might be, Dad?
This ought to be good.
You know what's going to happen, Austin?
Murray's finally going to get some ass.
Well, that's going to happen too. It's going to open up and it's going to say, hey, that whole scene in the basement actually didn't happen because Dustin got invited to a party after his graduation speech. And there's no way in hell that after that invite, he's going to spend that night at his buddy's house in the Ball Sweat, Broccoli, and Funyun basement playing Dungeons and Dragons. There's no way. So it's going to be the real way that night played out. Dustin's going to end up at the party. You know.
What about him and Susie's never-ending story? I guess that one ended, eh?
Yeah. Sorry, Susie.
I got to give credit to Dana on that one. We were watching it. She's like, oh, I guess their story ended. So I guess,
yeah, Dad said that too. You're like, oh God, I guess little Susie didn't make it out. I was like, you're right.
I guess the idea is that in his angsty phase or 18 months or however long it had been, he had pushed Susie away.
Man, I will say, that's one thing that I wasn't in love with about this season. I thought they made Dustin pretty unlikable for the most part. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but he just had that kind of like greaser vibe on him for a lot of it, did he not? Kind of.
Well, like Griffin,
he's Belushi in a John Hughes film.
Yeah, he was an angry little elf is what he was. I mean, let's call it what it is. He just, he was trying to be that Eddie kind of character. I didn't care for it either, but I liked him so much, throughout the other seasons. So, we'll give that little dude a pass.
I feel like he was still there, though. I didn't hate it too much.
You can't but love that guy, man. He gets up and gives that speech at the graduation, and he does
which is what Eddie was going to do.
Eddie wanted to, and what Eddie said he was going to do, the flipping off, and that was great. And Hellfire, pulls the shirt off and all that.
You know what it says on his shirt? They do like, what's his name in Semi-Pro when it says Cuck, he's wearing the Kentucky Colonels. It says L lives on his shirt.
Hellfire I saw
lives.
that was all over Facebook the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, and also something to do with like the names when they set up all their D&D boards or folders. Like you could mess around with the letters to say like L is alive or something like that.
I tried that. You had to bounce all over the place. I mean, you could do anything. It's like, if I give you 45 letters, you can come up with about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin, I was really hoping that there was some way that L was actually still communicating with Mike. I was hoping. Yeah. I was really hoping she was bringing him into her little dream world, and they were just like, I guess, whatever you could imagine, but they were just kind of still in contact. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping we'd get a little glimpse of that.
Well, what about our city getting a shout out? Did you all hear that?
Yeah.
I think that was what in the
Louisville
in number 8. Yeah,
Louisville.
And they said Louisville. I was like, oh my.
Oh, we'll meet in Louisville.
How about that, Austin? They
pretty...
must know about our show. That's all I can say.
I know. That's what I mean.
They might as well have come out and said, "Hey, the sad sacks."
I mean, they got Murray. He's got my name on his jacket.
Yeah,
they called out Louisville. They also, I think Hopper's jacket or hat says like Ace on it and some kind of
acronym. I mean, there it is. I mean, they know.
Yeah,
Just a matter of time. And the big one. And I got to do it, guys. What got me, Austin? You were talking about tearing up when they played "When Doves Cry." Woo! That got me, dude.
Yeah.
I was like looking away from the family, but I'm like, oh man, I had a tear run down my eye. I'm like, oh shit, this is good. Yeah. Then they back it up "When Doves Cry." I just was like, you gotta be kidding me. Purple Rain. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm about to say the Purple Rain got me.
Oh man. Did you all see that the downloads for Purple Rain, "When Doves Cry" went up over 200%?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, kids were going, "Who's Prince?" And I'm just so old that I'm going, "What in the hell?" That would be like you guys not knowing who Jimi Hendrix is, in my opinion. That's just a mainstay. Prince is one of the greatest that's ever done it, and probably one of my biggest regrets. I didn't go see him in concert. Dumbass.
Yeah.
But that was great. And then we got a little David Bowie.
Yeah, they finally played
James.
They had played the Peter Gabriel version, I think, 2 times prior in this series.
Okay.
And finally, on the very end, the outro, they played the David Bowie version of Heroes.
That was great. When I came in, I was like, there it is. Mm-hmm. They got it there.
Yeah. So let me look at Shock Jock here, guys, if you don't mind me kind of
go for it.
Jump right in there, fella.
So we picked up out of maybe the most exciting moment we've seen in Stranger Things. Yeah, maybe just in my opinion, but it was pretty awesome. And I think this is another place that maybe hurt this season is just that release structure. Pretty difficult. And you're also doing it on holidays. So things are going on too. So it was tricky. And it was also a month after. So when did the first ones come out? Like Thanksgiving. So the first bundle comes out Thanksgiving. You got to wait a month on that giant high note. I thought the reentry point was a little difficult. I thought it was a little rough and jagged, when we got back into everything. Basically, it's Mike. He comes right up to Will and is like, "Oh, you're a sorcerer, a real life sorcerer." And I don't know, the feelings of the moment had gotten lost for some reason. So I thought it was a pretty difficult reentry point. But the biggest thing in this one, Shock Jock here, is basically the kids have been taken. All the kids are in Vecna's dreamland now. Delightful Derek's there as well. He's still kicking ass, having a lot of fun. Yeah. He's a blast, man. What an awesome addition to this character. Where I said, the cast has gotten bloated to a degree. The party has gotten bloated to a degree. Delightful Derek was a kick-ass one for sure. Can't complain about that. Mr. Clark, this is where we see him get involved when Erica kind of has that idea. She sees his picture. So this one's kind of, like I said, building the bridge, the plan towards what's next. Vecna's taking the kids. How do we get to him? And Dustin and Steve have their fight in this one. That's probably the best scene from it. That was intense. Really, really liked that scene. And then ultimately the payoff in another couple episodes, but also in that first one, Vecna, the run, Will going into him and taking him down, which also, maybe we can question that too. Will has just learned how to use these powers and is already seemingly crippling Vecna, or is crippling Vecna. Mm-hmm. I think Vecna in these middle episodes got reduced to a pretty small role. He's basically babysitting these kids and lost a lot of menace to a degree. I don't know, you weren't as threatened by him. It comes back in the end, that what's his name, Bauer, or what's the actor for it?
James
plays it.
Campbell Bauer.
Yeah,
it is.
He's phenomenal.
Kicks ass
Yes,
as
he does.
Henry in that last one. And man, I really thought they were going to Vader him. Remember I had mentioned that earlier on, he might get the Vader arc. It's like, oh my God, is this going to be the turn? Is it going to happen? And then he didn't, which, I thought was good too, because maybe that would have just been too on the nose. Which I think they did do things well in that way. And, let's jump on over to Escape from Camazotz, and my favorite scene from this middle half of episodes, which we've already discussed a little bit here, Griffin, and I don't know if you liked it either too much, Mike, was the Jonathan and Nancy stuff going on. Obviously for seasons and seasons and seasons at this point, since it started, Jonathan has not had a grasp on this relationship. It's like they've been breaking up slowly, to use a phrase that they used in the past season. It was happening. It's like, dude, do you want to be with her or not? We see in the first bundle of episodes that he has a ring for her. It's like, dude, that's not gonna fucking work. And I'm so glad that they didn't make that be the resolution. I think that was handled very appropriately. A lot of people, and you said this, Griffin, you guys didn't know it was a breakup then. And this is consensus. Just about everyone was thinking that too. I immediately was like, oh, that was him calling it off. He was saying, let's cut it. And I thought that was very adult. It was very grown up. And I liked the way that the show handled it, because it wasn't working. They needed space. And maybe they do find their way back to each other. I think that's a possibility. I think they kind of left that, there's obviously a lot of love still there. But they needed their space. The trauma that they went through was traumatizing. And I thought they were going to die. Maybe that's another knack against that scene, is that they kind of copped out the same they did with the Wheeler parents. It's like, I thought both of them were dead, if not one of them. No one died in this season. So
Austin, I think Ted died. We never saw him till the very end at the graduation. So he may have been dead. I mean, yeah, he may have been Vecna reincarnated. I don't know. That cat. I was kind of laughing the whole time. I'm like, no one's died. Then I went, oh hell, Ted's dead. So.
And what about this goo? Is like, how is it so hot that it's melting, but they're just covered in it and having absolutely no physical damage from it? And,
that was kind of weird.
It's one of those things that's not even worth going into. But they also have the way they do that scene too. It's like, dude, that was so fucking suspect. Like, they got Jonathan laying on the ground, his face, and then they just start dropping a white gooey substance on his face. It's like, dude, are you serious? Watch it again and you'll be like, what? Yeah.
Like I said, Austin, 5, 6, they were slow. I mean, I've got a few, and, Griffin and I talked earlier, I thought it was cool when Mike ran up in chapter 5, Shock Jock, when he goes, you're a sorcerer. Austin, you nailed it. If we didn't have to wait a month and you went back to back and you were watching, I think you'd have been a little pumped. You're a sorcerer. You'd have been like, oh, hell yeah.
I feel like a lot of the air had been released.
I agree. We watched this about 9 or 10 o'clock. All of them, all the 3 of them, 5, 6, and 7. So, as Griffin kind of pointed out, I made a comment. I'm gonna have to go back because I kept dozing off.
I watched them late too, and it was Christmas. I had had some Christmas
so
beverages.
I'd had a few. I'd had some of those beverages as well. So I was falling asleep. Griffin slapping me, wake up. So I'm like, oh, I got to watch this again. Yeah. But there was some really cool lines that I like. I like, he's a sorcerer. Vecna, Joyce says Vecna chose you because he underestimated you. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, oh, I like that.
Joyce didn't get a great, she had the big payoff at the end, but she didn't have a great season either.
Joyce, but she had that throughout all the seasons. She's always mom, and she loves her kids, and she's going to stand up, she'll fight anybody over her kids. And we found out Karen will kick your ass too. We found out she's one hell of a
They
mom.
just had to give people too many moments, I think. Just to satisfy people on the end.
Hey, Austin, it's like a basketball game. Not everybody can score the winning goal, and that's the way this one ended. It was, you wanted to see Hop at his best. You wanted to see Steve at his best. I wanted to see Dustin come out of that little rebel, whatever he had going on, rebel without a clue. I wanted to see that. Again, I kept wanting to see some of the other characters. I was really kind of hoping to see Argyle just pop up out of nowhere. I don't know why, but I like that character. But I thought they did. You mentioned Clark. I thought that was really cool. They brought him back, and him and Erica and the kite and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. Let's see.
Well, it's so good because Mr. Clark, when he was involved with the series, it's always the kids kind of dancing around the truth. They're seeking him out for his help and his knowledge, but he's never being told what's going on. And he finally has that truth moment in this season, which was good, that he got revealed to it and he got to go in on it too. So that was pretty good. And that librarian that he was with, was that the librarian that Hopper was with too? Remember Hopper was with the librarian early on?
I was
trying to remember.
One might have been the public librarian. One might have been the school.
Yeah, I don't think it was the same.
Yeah. Snookums is what they called him. Another big development and thing that we can't miss on here is that Henry's blood was the source of basically all these kids.
All the kids
being spawned off. They were transferring blood and all that. Collie gives us that bit of intelligence there. So I think that's kind of a big plot point that we need to touch on. And I don't think I don't know. I feel like just some of the writing, it got hard for them to write out of these stories sometimes. Like the mind flare and Vecna's kind of involvement, the whole bridge theory between the Upside Down and the Abyss land, I thought it just got a little messy, didn't it? That's all I can really say.
It was definitely a little ugly. I mean, I kind of looked at Griffin at one point. I'm like, And we almost had to kind of have a sit down and go, what the hell? And he had to start explaining it to me. It kind of lost me there.
Well, you know what my biggest kind of gripe of the last episode is? I'd say this is probably my number one gripe of the last episode. There is not one Demogorgon or Demodog in the entire fight. There's not one. They don't even show in the last episode.
Austin, the whole
they've been
fight
integral to the whole thing.
Wow. Austin, the whole fight it was like back in the day.
It was very short too.
Yeah, well, I was just getting ready to say that. It's like back in the day, Mike Tyson would fight. Everybody couldn't wait to see Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson would go in the ring, bing, pow, bing, and they're done. The match, the boxing.
Paid all this money just to get in the door. Yeah.
Hell, we paid all of this. I mean, we're sitting there.
We had to watch episodes. We had to watch chapter 5 through 7 to get to that. And he's dead. He's dead. There's an hour left.
The mind flayer got his ass kicked pretty quick. Let's face it. I was hoping for a little bit more of a fight. I mean, and I'm sure you two.
Well, that thing was massive too. Like it was a very daunting villain, and they just were people running on ground.
I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm like, way to go, Will. You're not afraid. Get in there and do what you got to do.
And where some of that fell short shows you how great the epilogue stuff is. And that was the stuff that was really just tying up any kind of loose ends and just, it was a feel good show at the end of the day. They didn't even tell us explicitly that Elle's dead. They literally told us the out. They walked us through the whole kind of the side quest, which I enjoyed too. I loved that last scene. I fucking loved it. One of the best in the entire show.
There you go.
The entire show. I thought it was just really good. And like I said before, you could tell that they had that one written. It was just a means of getting there kind of thing. And, I think it was a good season. And I think just coming back to that, it was a good season. It's just messy. It's just messy, and it's not one of the best.
But Austin, I mean, if I said, okay, compare this to Game of Thrones, you're going to go, oh, this was great. Game of Thrones it was sloppy. This at the end, as an old cat, I was sitting there going, oh, this is great. And I love Mike, the storyteller. I just love that. It just, like you said, it got you. It definitely got me. And watching him on the typewriter, I saw a grown man that I knew what he was going to do the rest of his life.
Stand By Me, wasn't it?
It was like Stand By
Austin,
Me.
good.
For sure.
Yes.
Also, Frodo at the end of Lord of the Rings, too. He's the one who wrote that book. Him and Bilbo both did that. So, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's the bridge here. Let me talk about this last one. I don't even, I guess they got back the whole escaping Camazotz. They escaped Camazotz. We haven't talked about that much at all. I feel like that was good stuff. It just jumped back and forth a lot. It's like you would leave that scene and then they would get, one step further. And you come back, and then they'd get one step forward each time. So I thought that got a little jarring. Maybe they could have given us more in kind of one scene instead of always going back to Max and kind of Holly. I think it kind of maybe broke the pacing at some points, perhaps. I think maybe, but I thought that was ultimately good stuff. And I've said it already on this episode. They did execute well with Holly. That could have gotten very, very wrong if you didn't have the right actor. And that was a big swing. It's the last season, man. And to do that, to introduce an entirely new, main character, basically, in the last season, that takes some balls. I'll give them that for sure. But in the bridge, Max wakes up with Lucas. That's a great scene. Karen saved him right at the end of that, too. I thought that was maybe a little...
Yeah, Karen killed it.
It was cool. It's great. And I saw, in the script where they said, the smoke clears. And it's Karen fucking Wheeler. That's what they had written in the script. I liked it, but I thought she already had her hero moment. Did we have to give her another one? I thought that was maybe overdone. Maybe it could have been Ted. Give him
no
something.
one wanted that to be Ted.
Instead, Karen gets two hero moments, and then she wants to go, even though her throat sliced in half, and they do sub her out at that point, and everyone gives her a standing ovation for her contribution in this season for sure. I mean, she had a great season. She's a great 6-man candidate.
Good.
Yeah. And what else is in there? I guess Will comes out of the closet. That's what happens in the bridge. That's the big one. Yeah. That's the big one. And also Steve and Dustin make up, which is good.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think that's what I kind of take away. And like you guys said, I mean, the show had to do it because you got to get all of those big plot points sealed up before it's done, right? But I think that it was really great getting to see Max and Lucas kind of have their moment of coming back together. I think that Lucas is an extremely underrated character. I think that he is just consistently on it, delivers great performances. I think
gave us a wrist rocket too in the last battle.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he rocks, and I'll say that Max showed me things I had not seen from her. So I thought that Max really killed it in this episode, not in this episode, in this season, in this latter half. And, like you said, I think the whole Camazotz plotline was pretty fun too for the most part. I mean, granted, like you said, maybe it did get a little confusing every once in a while, but at the same time, I think it really let Max, Sadie Sink really showcase what they had. So that was really cool for me. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I mean, we had to get the Dustin and Steve come to Jesus moment, and that was a big deal. And then, of course, seeing Dustin grab those weapons that Eddie had furnished himself, bringing that to Steve and saying, hey, this is what we're going to fight with. I mean,
I would have said, you got a gun, man.
Nice. Well,
I don't think I want to get this close to a 500-foot being,
hey, man, it was cool,
Yes, yeah.
Speaking of that 500-foot being, I was looking back, and apparently, I mentioned this to you guys earlier, apparently they're doing a behind the scenes in a little bit on Stranger Things, which I want to watch. But I think I was seeing some clips from it, and apparently, the writers, in order to create that monster, or to at least have the actors understand the magnitude of size of that monster, they had this VR that they were showing at the set, and the kids were able to kind of look through this screen and say, holy shit, that's how big that damn thing is. And, they were having to do all kinds of crazy things with blowing dirt up and stuff, and kind of the shock waves. And it was really kind of interesting how they managed it all. And apparently all the actors, what they said is they were just busting ass running for a long time. They're like, dude, that's what I remember, just being sweaty and tired as hell from running around. So
Yeah,
you know,
sore as shit the next day.
exactly.
It's awesome to see how the things come to life as well, because I guarantee you, when they were shooting it, it didn't look anything like what we ended up seeing. I'm sure it looked ridiculous, but it's it's on these performers to show up and do their job, and I think they did. The fight was a little brief, maybe after all that build up to that fight. But the payoff of Joyce chopping Vecna's head off with an axe too, that was pretty damn brutal. The Duffer Brothers said they were very purposeful on when they're much unlike the Purple Podcast and the Sad Sacks on the Purple Podcast, maybe just me. The Duffer Brothers were very particular about when they were going to say the F word. They've been holding it off the entire series, and that's the one time it comes out. You fucked with the wrong family.
Yeah.
She chops her head off, and it's going between face to face, and all the trauma that they've covered over the years. I think that's, I'm a sucker for this stuff, and that's definitely where they hit me the hardest, was when they were giving you those flashbacks of previous seasons. And, me, myself, thinking on the years when I watched those, how long this journey has been. It's been 10 years, man. That's a decade of my life, and I'm not even 30 yet. So it's a good portion of my life that I've, been, I guess, involved with this show in some kind of manner as a fan, whatever it may be. So that
now
stuff really,
a professional podcaster.
Now as a professional podcaster. So it means a lot, this show. And I think they took their wins there for sure. They definitely hit it well. And like I said, the ending and all they did towards that was just really great stuff. I probably teared up / cried 2 to 3 times in the finale.
Wow.
Definitely on the last one with, Mike and them all in the basement. And then maybe when Mike and Elle are together, when she's saying her goodbye. Mm-hmm. And then also maybe when she's telling Hopper, you are my father, you became my father. I think that one was killer too, where she's saying, you need to trust my decision. I thought that was really, really damn good. So that's what's so kind of perplexing, because I think the overall, and maybe this is me coping too, trying to like I definitely felt some parts of the series, and I keep saying it. So maybe that's what I keep coming back to it. Parts of this season did not hit all the way through, but there were also really, really good parts too. That maybe those were the parts that they had been working on for a long time, and the rest were other just means of how they could facilitate those really killer scenes. And some of those killer scenes just absolutely kicked ass. Maybe a dark horse for the best one, and we already touched on a little bit, was the older group on the Squawk building. They've all moved to different towns, and this is something very topical for someone of our age. Griff, it's not like we've gotten far yet, really, but people go different places. So we know this feeling. We know that most likely they're not going to have that meetup. It's just one of those things. You're with those friends, and let's start doing this every month, man. Yeah, let's get together. That'd be great. And it's just one of those things that kind of falls through the cracks, and it doesn't mean you love them any less. It just means you're doing your own thing and living life, man. It's just how it goes. So that one really hit home, hit hard. And I question in that one how much acting it really was sometimes too, because with that, I would imagine if I'm the director of this, I'm probably making that their last scene. The crowd that's on that roof, I'm probably making that one their last scene. That's the last
I read something where they said it was the first time they'd seen Steve really just tear up. Really? So he was struggling with that.
It felt real. It was a great performance from all of them.
Definitely real. And I think the realism of it was when you see Jonathan, in a blazer, and you see Steve, in a blazer, and you see the girls, a little, and they're not,
sex ed teacher Steve.
Yeah, it felt real. It felt, you just felt like, hey, they're growing up, they're grown up. You made a good point, because that's called life. What happens is hey, there's girlfriends, there's fiancés, there's marriage, there's children, and all that's getting ready to happen. So all of them were saying, hey, we got to get together monthly. That's not going to happen. But I love that. I want to go back to the Joyce scene where she gets Vecna. Austin, if it would have been one hit, and over. I think that would have been really disappointing. But Joyce was just coming down, and I mean, I think I counted 4, maybe 5 times to get that head off of there, and it
might have been more than that, man.
It was. I mean, it was at one point you're like, oh damn, just cut his head off. But you just felt it, and with the backflashes of everything that's happened to her, I thought that was. It just felt necessary. It felt like good for you, girl. You know, I loved it. You know, we talked about Karen had her moment, her mom moment. Well, Joyce had her mom moment. I thought that was huge for her. You know, it was her time to shine, and boy, I want to say, no pun intended, but she wailed on it, and she nailed it. She really did.
Hey, well, what about, speaking of, Joyce and Hopper get married?
They finally got to go to end zones, man.
They went to end zones.
Austin, did he? How did he do with ordering the vino? How did he do? Were you like, oh my god?
He mispronounced Cabernet Sauvignon. It was not a Chianti this time, but he still mispronounced that one. But all's well that ends well. Am I right? So
yeah, hey, it worked out for him, didn't it?
I will say something funny. We watched that episode in Florida, Austin, and Amy was like, what the hell is he wearing to this fancy restaurant? He's wearing like a green flannel. Looks like hell. You know, it's like, what's going on here? So
it's probably better than the Magnum PI look, though.
Well, fair
it worked for him.
I guess it did work, but I was just like, yeah, is that really the fit you're wearing to your proposal? But who knows?
I'll put on some weight in between seasons too.
Yeah,
they gave him a shirtless scene almost on purpose. It felt like, it's like, good God, man. We saw him. He was skin and bones just about. He kind of looked unwell at the end of season 4, and he has been eating very nice. There's no stipends on any kind of food there or anything. They got free reign. He's eating all right. Egg goes, maybe.
He's eating. Hey, man. And Dad, you brought this up. We were talking earlier. I thought it was really awesome when we got to see him take down a couple of Archer's men in that scene with Elle and Kali.
There's another gripe of mine. The military, much like Welcome to Derry, the military, very weak point in this season, in my opinion. I thought. Really? Just didn't think
talking about Kay as well.
Kay and all of them, they just weren't very interesting. They were a side thought, man. Kay never stepped to the plate, and you get Linda Hamilton. You'd think you'd given her a lot more, but it just was another part that kind of felt like, it's there to be there, but we're not all that intrigued by it. They just didn't give it enough.
No, it definitely, Austin, I think you're right. It had no gas at all.
Aside from like the plot point that this is why Elle and Kali need to die, because they can continue. There's always going to be someone like her. She's she's just the Brenner replacement. She's just a face representing the person who is going to not allow Elle to live a free and happy life and is keeping that from happening. That's basically why she's there. Other than that, they don't contribute to all too much. That guy that they brought in, she's got a God complex. Let's back this bitch ourselves. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. That was rough to me. I did not like that. I thought that was bad. And then they only get Kali at the end of the day. Or did they really? That's a question I have. I guess Kali is dead. She goes away. She goes away with that, right? She gets swept off in this. And here's another big question for you guys. Wasn't the big danger of blasting the bridge that it would suck their universe into the black hole with them? So that's why I had to be careful about hitting the whatever matter. But then the plan is to blow up the, exotic matter. I guess it's not going to suck their planet in now.
Yeah.
That they need to destroy.
Again, Austin, there's some holes in this, I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
There was some things that you go, I'm not real certain. Here's what we know. We love the story. We love the characters.
That's what we love.
I feel like I loved it about Hop and Joyce. That was wonderful. We beat the dead horse where the kids are playing D&D. Man, that just felt so real to me. because, we've all been kids and been around our buddies, and you're just excited about, whether it be a ball game or D&D, whatever it may be. And they were and I thought it was real cute how they brought Max into that. And she's like, really? This is how, she's like, this is bullshit. She was just kind of like, really? This is how this goes? We can't defeat this. And how all of them started kind of just going around the room, and they finally came up with the mage. I guess that's how you say it. The mage.
I guess that's Elle, represented in it. She's the mage. But
yeah.
I mean, I love how they book in the series so well. This is how it started. These middle school kids playing D&D, they're tiny. They're little runts, man. They're little cats just getting started. And by the end, they're grown adults. They're about to head off to college, and that's how it ends. It ends with them playing D&D, and it is so nostalgia heavy that it's suffocating. It's hard to fucking breathe. Do you guys have a favorite scene from the last episode? And then we'll get into our favorite characters of the, I guess we could say our favorite episode of the season too, but any kind of favorite episodes or favorite scenes from the last episode?
Austin, I had a few of them. Got to be honest with you. I really, again, the music did it for me. I like when Elle pulled Mike in and there's Purple Rain being played. I mean, I loved it. I loved when Murray's getting ready to blow up that helicopter, and you see, they're playing When Doves Cry, and I'm like, da, 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 da. I'm just over there just pumped up going, oh, hell yeah, this is great. It sounded really good. Those were my big, and then I love the rooftop where you got the boys and the girls up there, and they're being adults, and them in their suits, and Jonathan looking as sophisticated. I thought that was the best he's looked in the whole show. There were scenes when he was on top of that table. I kept teasing Griffin. I said, damn, this dude looks like Gollum. I mean, the precious. I mean, they were showing angles of him, and he looked creepy as hell, man. I kept waiting for him to go. And then he pulls out the ring, and I went, the precious. I was having.
Sorry, Charlie Heaton. Sorry. I can only keep my uncle in so much check.
Hey, and I'm sorry, man, but let me redeem myself here. Sorry, Charlie, but I will say this. Dude, I loved you in the end. You look good in your suit. You look like he looked like a grown man in the end. And you could see, man, when they clean that cat up, he looks pretty good. And
he's got a lot more bag too when he's a single man. It's like he's got some game. He's giving Nancy the smile again. It's like, where was that when you were together?
Yeah, dude. It's like, man, I mean, he had a million chances. Maybe, you know what? Maybe the cat's going, you know what? I got a little bit more than Nancy in me. So maybe that's what was going on. Who knows? Who knows? But no, I did want to say, I think that cat, all of them. I think Steve looked great. I thought Nancy looked great. Again, I think they cleaned them up. Half the time they had dirt all over them. So, I mean, there's only one way to go, and it's up. Yeah, or
yeah.
But those were my scenes, Austin.
That's good.
Griffin, what did you like?
Yeah, I think I probably there are about 3 I'd want to mention. I actually kind of thought it was cool getting to see Vecna actually go into the cave. I enjoyed seeing that. I thought that was really cool. And
especially with those bloodshot eyes of his. He looked horrible.
I think one of the spinoffs is supposed to be surrounding that stone and its origin.
Oh, so I was about to say.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
They're like, Henry, you won't come in here. And then he goes in.
I felt sympathetic for him, dude. I really did.
I did too. Hey, you see those hearts?
Yeah, I must have felt sympathetic for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I did as well, and I really thought he might change, especially when we saw Will saying, "Hey, you can turn this around," and that was another one of my favorite scenes.
That was a great scene.
Just seeing Will kind of run his game and do his work, I thought that was really special. Where he's tapping in, and like you guys said, you got so much emotion and such a performance from Jamie Campbell Bower, who's playing Henry / Vecna. I mean, he killed it. And I think in all of this too, you gotta mention Dustin's graduation valedictorian speech. That was a lot of fun. Everything's getting sealed up, and I
love that his mom was like pumped for.
Yeah, she loved it, didn't she?
Yeah,
she loved it.
She was into it, and
that was great.
Also when, like you said, Dad, when Max is like, "What the hell? It's just over," and then you get Mike saying, "Well, here's the real story," and you get to see the kind of
Mike
flash.
The storyteller. I loved it.
You see the flash into everyone's life. Dustin's studying hard and still hanging with Steve, and you get to see Will's at the bar meeting people. It's like, man, this is really cool. So,
I saw some pretty terrible edits of having what's his name's put the Jeffrey Dahmer character.
Yes, I saw that also.
That was awful.
Was horrible. Yeah, that was bad.
Sorry, it was fun.
Sorry, Will.
Yeah. The internet's a lot less kind than I.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll say that.
brutal.
What about you, Austin? What did you have as a favorite scene?
Well, I've already said the big one is them playing D&D at the end for me. I think also Vecna fucking with Hopper and making him think he shot her was great.
Oh, that was a great scene.
I thought that was very It-like. That mind game. Maybe could have gotten some more of that, because that's where Vecna was very dangerous in season 4. It was just his manipulation of the mind. So that was really, really cool. Jonathan saved Steve. How about that?
Yeah.
They teased it. Maybe that's not one of my favorite scenes, but I think it's a big scene for sure. Like, did you guys think there was any chance Steve was falling there? I kind of felt at this point that's not where he was gonna go. It's like they can't kill him there.
Well,
they could have gone. They could do it better. That would have been too quick and basically too soon into the game, in my opinion, for anyone to go.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was a goner. I really did. I thought he was a goner. And then, of all people, Jonathan. And I kept thinking, there's no way in hell Jonathan would have been able to pull him up. I kept looking behind, like, guys, you got to get over and help him. There's no way Jonathan's going to be able to pull that up.
If Jonathan tried to grab Steve, Jonathan would have been toast too. He'd have flown right out of
Jonathan would have. I mean, you all know from climbing rocks and doing, how strong you have to be to even pull somebody up off the ground. So no way.
I don't know. I think Jonathan's right hand might be pretty strong, fellas.
Hey, Griff. Hey, never take Griffin. Oh my God. Oh, jeez.
I killed
Hey,
him.
Happy New Year, boys. There it is. 2026.
Oh, that was genius. That was so
boy.
good.
But I also thought just how insane it would be. Like our team has already climbed through like these portals into the Upside Down. But then they climb into a portal onto this different planet too. It's like the just the thought of any kind of that happening in real life is just absurd. Stepping foot on a different planet like that. They make an what's his name Armstrong reference.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure did.
Well, you gotta, and that was a big part of just volume 2, I thought, where Dustin kind of figures it out. He says, hey, the Upside Down is actually a wormhole, and, Vecna's master plan, and I was never, maybe you understand better than me, Austin, I thought it was kind of odd how the master plan was to bring this abyss and to merge it with the real world in order to, I guess, wreak havoc on Earth. I don't know. Like, that was the plan, right? Was the Upside Down was going to gradually shrink, and then the abyss and Earth were going to merge together.
Yeah, I guess that collision was going to, kind of bring down the abyss, and then maybe the Demogorgons would have just gone wild. I don't know. Anyway,
but we don't even see him in the big fight.
Wait a sec. Yeah. Another great scene, and you mentioned this earlier, Dad, when we were talking, is Steve getting his beanstalk plan out there.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, Steve came up with a big one, didn't he?
You can tell he's been hanging out with Dustin. That guy's brightened up a bit. He's saying words. He's still making some flubs here and there, but he's smarter than he had been.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love Steve. Steve's probably had the biggest come around for me since season 1. I mean, that dude's awesome.
Let's do our favorite characters, guys. Do we want to do it of the season, or we just do it of the show? Do we think the show for our favorite characters?
I'm fine with the show.
All right, Mike, who's your favorite character?
I'll jump in there. Guys, I'm gonna switch gears, and Austin, I'm gonna say my favorite character, and I'm looking at chapter 8, okay?
Well, I just said the entire show. But
yeah, I know, but I can't. I already had them written down what I wanted to say. And I've got to do this. Mine was Joyce, and I never said Joyce the entire time, but I loved it when she threw out, again, and I say all the time to you guys, throw that, if you're going to throw out the F-bomb, throw it out when it has to be. And Joyce did it when it had to be. And she said, don't F with my family.
Is that one of those do as I say, not as I do things for you, Mike?
Absolutely. I used to hear that a lot from my dad. But Joyce, when she did that, and I love how long it took for her to chop that cat's head off. I mean, that cat had a neck on him because she couldn't get that neck off of him, but she got it. So Joyce is going to be mine. And I also, that she's 1A and 1B. I thought the little girl, Holly, I thought she, for putting, and I kind of felt like you had mentioned, Austin, I felt like they put her in a row that was really tough. And I think she executed, and I think she showed some acting chops because she's a cute little girl. She was believable, and she pulled it off. Between her and Max, Griffin mentioned, Sadie Sinks, I thought she really showed us something this last season. So those would be mine.
Maybe we need a spinoff with Holly and Derek. Holly and the dipshit.
Yeah, could be.
Delightful Derek.
Delightful Derek. Maybe he's the new Ted and she's the new Karen. I don't know.
He also got his line in this last episode too.
Oh, yeah.
And he, much like Richie, gave Vecna the bird.
Yes, he did. Something about his fat one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Griffin, who you got?
Man, I mean, it is tough because there have just been so many great characters and great moments from this show. I mean, if I'm looking at it wholesale, I think Hopper was an amazing character. You just had to love Hopper. I mean, that dude was such a beast. He was a unit. He made things happen. I mean, Hopper might have been my overall number one, truthfully. I love me some Steve, too. Really, I love Steve. And kind of a funnier one, or two funny ones I'll do. I thought Robin and Murray were awesome characters, too. I loved them in this show. I'll say this, not to kind of put it a little sad here, but I think if you're talking like Falls from Grace, man, Mike, like, I just don't feel like there wasn't a whole lot happening, and something I think, this might be just me being an idiot, but I think that, I don't know why my screen's all blurry. I think that if we're talking about like things that Stranger Things might have screwed up, I really think it's in not like, I think the way they displayed relationships, romantic ones, was kind of lukewarm a lot. Like, okay. I wanted to see more passion.
Aside from maybe Max and Lucas.
Right.
I agree.
And maybe Joyce and Hopper too, I guess. But they were a little off and on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with Elle and with Mike, it was like there was hardly ever any passion. And I was making jokes in the last episode saying they won't even kiss now. It's the last moment they're ever going to see each other. And of course they did, and that was good. But it's like, man, you never saw any of that with Jonathan and with
people were
Nancy,
busting.
You never saw that.
People were busting the intimacy coordinator, which I guess is a role that people play in shows or have. And there's like, you see Mike like holding Elle and his like hands are like flat like a board. Like he's not even like wrapping around her like very much either. And then like maybe you chalk it up to him being a bit of a nerd and just not having bag like that. But you would like to think that he would be a little more intimate than that. I can absolutely agree with that point that you're giving. I think though, Can I will say, in terms of this last season, I do think Mike had one of his strongest seasons since the very first. And it might have just been because of that last scene where he dominated. It might have just been. And like, I think overall, they made it a purposeful choice to give him some more leadership roles in this season. I think he kind of made some decisions in this season more so. And I think he was more involved in this one. He wasn't as much of a sideline character. So I do think Mike actually had a pretty good season. I do also think that despite that, him and Elle's relationship, I don't know, but that scene was really damn good with them, even though, like
it was good.
Maybe they didn't do the best selling it along the way, in some ways, because the guy can't even tell her he loves her for the longest time, but he does. And I don't know, that's just him. That's just part of his character. But this is another thing that, you gave me some grief when I said it initially that him and Elle weren't going to get that happy ending. You thought it was a great scene between them. And I said, no, I think I'm on to something here. And it wasn't, I'm not going to pat myself on the back too hard, but I did say it. And they didn't get their happy ending. Unless we get an episode tomorrow that shows Mike in a land with 3 waterfalls and Elle, doing
what about
some telekinetic creepy shit?
Who would have been your favorite character over the 10 years you're watching? I'm interested to hear that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely got to be Dustin or Steve. I think those guys were top notch. As soon and every time I see that image or that scene, still shot, whatever it may be, of Dustin and Steve with the food bucket on the railroad tracks when they're looking for D'Artagnan from season 2, it really gets me pumped up. Just because that's the start of something awesome. Yeah. And I love their relationship all the way through. I think this season handled their relationship well too. I don't have many complaints there because we felt it in season 4 that, Steve had a little bit of, maybe jealousy towards Dustin. There was a little rift beginning even before Eddie died. And then Eddie dying and all that did to their relationship again. They just missed each other. They were best friends. And it's good to see at the end, too, that they're still making time for each other despite everyone going their separate ways. I said, they're not going to meet in Louisville every month. That's not going to happen. But sure does look like Dustin and Steve are going to go on their wild trips together, which gives me a lot of joy, I would say. So that would be my number one. And I think just in general, man, we got to give a huge applause and hats off to just the team and the party. That's something that this show handled exceptionally well. It had different generations all coming together to be one team. And we love our team. We didn't lose any of them aside from Elle, but it's great to have that core group. And, you can get picky and you say they did. It was a consequence-free season. There was plot armor constantly. No one could die that we cared about. But that's the choice they made. And I think pseudo losing Elle was a good enough amount of sting. If that was their choice, I can get behind it. I don't have bloodlust. I didn't need to see my favorites die, horrifically. So, that's what it is there. How about 6-man, guys? I think, Griff, you mentioned Robin and Murray for the whole show of all time. I think they're a great 6-man. I think Karen Wheeler's a great 6-man that overlapped seasons. She had an amazing final season. They finally gave it to her. Dipshit Derek in particular had a great 6-man season here. So I would give it to him on the season. In terms of the whole show, man, I'm so perplexed by Robin and Murray just because I don't feel like I guess Robin's character just changed so much. I think she was the best in her first season with Scoops Ahoy Steve in season 3. I think that's the best Robin's ever been. And she's still been good, but she hasn't been that good.
Well, Rockin' Robin was a lot of fun. And I'll give some 6-man cred to Vicky as well. I think that Vicky kind of held some weight.
Even though they might not be together anymore. I think she was a little overbearing, apparently.
Oh, Vicky was?
Yeah. She had a great line, though. She called the Demodogs mutant Cujos.
Oh,
that was something I really honed in
on.
Well,
speaking of that, and I avoided saying it because I didn't want to get chewed out, but man, I'm always getting couple vibes off of Steve and Robin. I still got them, and I was like, are they together now? Like, when they were together at the graduation ceremony, I was like, this seems weird, but, whatever. But I'll say to Vicky, I thought she did really well in this last season, and definitely had some six-man status.
I like the scene with Robin, and I don't know if it was in these. Yeah, it was in these, like the middle ones, volume 2, with Robin and Vicky when she goes back to the hospital and she's telling her everything. It's like the big truth scene. We've seen it multiple of times throughout this. They did it with Mr. Clark. They did it with Max when Lucas told her, and season 2 all the way back when she joined. And I'm sure there's another few along the way as well. But that kind of truth revealing of Robin to
She's like,
Vicky.
You're getting high with your friends.
You're not well. You need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. That's what you'd think, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, I think she had a really good season. I do. I was thinking about that too. Like, I wonder how much they had in store for that when they originally had Vicky on, because last season, hell, she probably had about 2 lines.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then she had a very prominent role in this last one. It's kind of like Erica. And it's something that really cool that I think the Duffer Brothers did with this is they let they obviously didn't have everything written from the beginning. I think that's pretty plain and simple to see. But they let kind of, maybe input from the audience kind of gauge some things obviously, as well. Like the reaction to Steve. Steve was supposed to die at potentially season 1, but they loved the guy. And then he's here until the end. He wasn't supposed to be a main character, so that was really cool. Erica wasn't supposed to be a big character, and she didn't have a big season here, but they gave her spots and she earned them because she had a very, very big season 3 where she played a very prominent role as America Erica with the Scoops Ahoy gang. So I thought that is really cool how they just would pick up these characters along the way that didn't seem like much in the beginning. Holly, it's not the same actress as we discussed, but she got written into a very prominent role. So kind of cool how they would do that and take those risks and introduce some new people. Who's your sad sack of the season in the entire show, guys?
Will. My God. And I feel so bad, but it's Will. My gosh, the guy they put him in such a hell of being this sad sack, sappy, no good for anything character. And you do get some of that redemption with him actually joining the party in this last season and fighting and contributing and busting up on Vecna. And you kind of find out that Will, you mentioned, hey, how can Will so easily tap into this? And my only argument to that would be, man, the dude kind of was the closest to the dude. He was burrowing tunnels for the bastard because he's part of the hive mind, and it's like, you were
my builder.
Yeah, the guy was tapped in, but regardless, it's so hard to say anything else because Will was just always getting poked and beaten up, and he's like the perfect, like, you just come up to him and flick him in the nose or something and be like, he's such a sad sack, man. My dad's laughing because he knows it's true. Tell me I'm wrong.
What the hell was it called when you would, put someone's face in the toilet and flush it? What was that called?
Dunk their head in the toilet.
It's called something.
A swirly.
A swirly. That's what it is. Or you fucking you give him a wet willy. That's what you do to that cat.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Austin, I don't think there's any discussion about that. We know who the sad sack was.
Of the whole show, it would have to be Will.
It's
for sure.
Will.
You could say Henry too. That's a sad sack for sure. But of the last season in specific, how about Ted, man? The neglect of Ted in this final season.
Hell, I thought he was dead. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think.
I thought he was dead too, and honestly, people wouldn't have cared either way. So,
well, they still don't.
Honestly, I think the show treated that kind of poorly because I mean, the fact is, it was pretty negligent. It was pretty negligent. It's like that's a plot hole. Like you guys are so just off the touch with that. So whatever, but it doesn't matter.
Yes, sir. Themes and things. We'll just do this for the final season. Then we'll get on out of here. We'll call it a quits on this entire kind of series and rewatch series that we've had. A long way we've come, a long way this show has come. So last kind of bits of it here. Themes and things, guys.
Guys, I'll kick it off. How about vessels? We found out that even Henry was a vessel.
Sure was.
Again, I said this very beginning. I think it's my open remark.
Scared.
Sorcerer. I love that, man. Will's a sorcerer. That was
not a wizard.
He's a sorcerer. Friendship, lifelong friends.
Very good.
Hey, you're gonna like this one, Griff. Love, love, love. I mean, there was a lot of love in this one, and I've said it numerous times. Don't mess with Joyce's family. She'll kick your ass and cut your head off.
Don't mess around with Jim either.
Don't mess with Jim.
I loved when he went back from Collie. We haven't touched on that scene because you're like, oh God, Jim just left Collie. He did it.
He went
cold-hearted as hell.
He went back in blazing saddles, dude. He did. He looked like something out of a Clint Eastwood movie. Boom, boom,
and then
boom.
El made the guy shoot himself in the head with his own gun.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, that was tough.
That was sick.
That was kick-ass. Those are my themes, boys.
Another crazy thing to consider is that, they're pretty wanton about just murder. You don't think too much on it, but our kids are killers. They're just killing these people. And maybe, they have a right to do it, but pretty cold-blooded too, and they don't think too much on it.
Well, again, if you were in that spot, you would get just kind of to the point where it's just everyday deal. I mean, you're dealing with these crazy flower head dogs that are trying to kill you, and I mean it's tough.
Yeah, you become a little numb to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would say so, Oz.
Yeah,
guys, Griff, you want to add on to themes?
Yeah, I mean, I think for this, you got to say wormhole. Trust. You got to say wormhole because we figure out that that's what the upside down is. You got to say right side up. You got to say abyss.
Exotic matter.
Exotic matter. I thought this was funny, Austin, when Holly escaped from Vecna's dream world and then got put back into the abyss. Oh. My dad said, "Suck on that." It was so funny. Yeah. It was so funny. So, suck
that
on
was
that.
horrible. The poor kid gets out.
That
and
one.
Jeez.
Suck on that's got to be a theme. Like you said, I think lifelong friendship, kind of end of an era. Adolescence, the closing of adolescence, and the transition into a new period of life. I mean, we see that. We see different periods of life. We see it in the hairstyles. We see how Karen goes from, all of her different looks over the years when she was trying to get it on with Billy, and at the end, at the graduation, where her hair's short, all of that crazy stuff.
With the big scars, too.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
She looked awesome.
Yep. I mean, I think that was kind of an amazing thing to see, and just how the relationships were going. So relationships would be a theme for me.
Massive one throughout this entire show. It's what it's built upon, the relationships.
And the last one I'll give you guys is D&D, and just always having
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, having that thing with your buddies, man.
That was awesome.
Passing of the torch, because that's what we see in that last scene where Holly and her friends are starting to play too.
That's great. Yeah, that's really damn. I love at the graduation when Hopper's like, Jesus Christ, after they say D&D, even though he's played along and called everything that they're fighting the D&D name that they give it. like very obliviously, I guess. It's like, oh, he's calling them Demogorgons and Vecna. It's like these are all their D&D names for them. They're playing right along. So, yeah. All right. Some of mine. How about November 6th as a theme?
Mm-hmm.
Big one. Happy birthday, Griff. I already had. Yeah, we already said Vessels, Sorcerer, Not Wizard. Well done. I thought the radio station was just a really cool outpost in this season.
Cool.
Yeah. But that was really good. Kid Cult. Those kids were really drinking the Kool-Aid for a second there. Vecna's Kool-Aid. It's probably because they were literally on his goop for sure. That sounded horrible, but we'll keep moving like it didn't happen. How about Vicious Cycle? I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. That was a terrible fat bastard voice, but there's a vicious cycle at play here.
Yeah, there was.
You die, I die. That was going to be Collie and
Oh,
Elle.
yeah,
it was
that
going to
was
be
awesome.
Steve and Dustin, too. How about Millie Bobby Brown and her blue steel looks all season long with those? Not to be an asshole, but it does look like maybe she's had some lip filler of sorts done. And it was something that the public audience called out. And I think I might have seen it myself, too. And she said, Hopper, what? You were going to kill yourself, Hopper.
Blue steel.
Blue steel. Plot armor for sure. But the big ones that I'll leave it with is, definitely D&D at the heart of this. It's through the stories of it all. Maybe it was all just a D&D game. There was a thought in my mind that might end up being what the story was, that this was all just like a D&D game and they were kids again back in the hole, doing
That'd
their
have been
thing.
insane.
Wouldn't it have? But the big one, nostalgia, passing of the torch. So we hit them, guys. We are all on the mark. We know what we're talking about here at the Purple Podcast. Sad
Yes,
Sacks.
we
We're
do.
tapped in. And finale. That was it. Finale. And we're on out of here. On to the next. I think there's going to be a cartoon series, the Tales from 85, coming out this year. Maybe we find our way around to reviewing that when it does come out. I know our primary focus in this new year is going to be new movies coming out, getting out into the theaters and talking about the things that are coming out along throughout this year. We started last year in, I think, April with The Last of Us. So I think
April.
we were behind and probably didn't do our best job of keeping up with the new movies. Seen enough at this point, but we need to be better. We should expect and uphold ourselves to a higher standard. We need to be seeing movies, need to be talking about them. So the next one, what we have coming up next, this is a Wednesday. On Sunday, we will be having Marty Supreme come out.
Yep.
A very, very possible Best Actor win for Timothée Chalamet, his first at the Oscars. He hasn't been nominated yet, but it is definitely where the momentum is leaning at this point. It's a very good movie. I've seen it. Griff, you're about to go see it yourself, so we probably need to wrap this thing up for you.
Yep.
Enjoy. Have a blast. Let us know what you think.
We'll
We'll be talking to you guys. But yeah, I'll let you guys say your goodbyes, kind of finish up. Maybe any last thoughts you have on Stranger Things, what it's meant to you, whatever it may be, whatever you want to say. You know how to do it. You're professionals too. So I'll hand it off.
Also, let me say this again. Happy New Year to everybody out there. This is going to be a kick-ass year. We're going to, as Austin pointed out, we're going to focus on movies in 2026. I'll be going to see Marty Supreme tomorrow. Probably go to the matinee. So looking forward to that. This, I'm going to say this, Griffin mentioned it earlier. This is one that I had seen as I would go through Netflix and just never put any time into it. I am so glad that I watched this. This was, to me, from beginning to end, exciting. There was a few lulls. We've talked about those. That's what we do.
It's hard to not, right? If you're going for long enough, you're going to miss.
Absolutely. But I'll say this. If they have a spinoff, I'm there. I'm watching. It doesn't matter which one it is. It could be it could be Joyce and Hopper. I'm still going to watch it because I love the characters. Hell, I'd love to see Murray again. I thought that guy was fun. I've watched a lot of series like that. I've watched MASH. I've watched Cheers. I've watched the Game of Thrones. I watched Dallas. I go back that far, and I thought that the brothers kicked ass. There was a lot of holes in this. We could poke it all day long, but again, at the end of the day, with how they wrapped that up with Joyce, with Hop, with the boy sitting there, and then Mike telling that story, man, that got me. And again, the big thing that I want to make sure we all that I enjoyed the most and what pulled me in early, the music. I love that 80s music.
Mm-hmm.
To bring in Prince, we didn't even talk about that, but to get the rights to do Prince music, that cost them out the ass to make that happen. So, guys, for all of those, young people out there that are listening to us, to get Prince music, the brothers paid out the ass to make that happen for our enjoyment. So take that and love it. And please get out and listen to Prince. There's so much more. If that's all you've heard of those two songs, you have no idea what you're in for, because Prince was special, guys. Really was. Griff?
Hell yeah, Prince. Hey, Austin, I just want to say thank you again for having us review Stranger Things. It's quickly become one of my favorite series of all time. I've had so much fun watching this series, and kudos to the entire cast, the Duffer Brothers, my goodness. And, we've just had so much fun. I've enjoyed it so much, and I think a huge part of that is because the series was so exciting and so good, and you love the characters, and also because we've been reviewing it together as the Sad Sacks here at the Purple Podcast. Mm-hmm. And with that, you guys already know 2026 is going to be our year. This is the year of Purple. It is happening. You're watching it in real time, so don't be surprised when this thing pops, because it's coming.
Don't miss the boat.
Don't miss that boat. It is here. We know what's up, and we're having the best time in the world doing it. So, yeah, I'm off to Marty Supreme, and, it's just another day in the office for me. So, you know what it
going,
is.
Man. That's nice. You get to roll it right on over. Yeah, life is good, man. This is a whole lot of fun. It was great getting back in because, we've been off for a little bit. We had a little bit of a hiatus, and we were running real strong for quite a bit there, put in a lot of work, very satisfied with what we've done. And this is a closing of a chapter of sorts for ourselves as well. It'll be one movie a week for the foreseeable future. Maybe we get the itch to put one in there, but we got other things going on, but we will not, we won't leave you hanging. We will have at least an episode a week for you guys. So stay tuned, keep paying attention. We're going to keep on doing it, keep on moving forward. You know the drill by now. If you're still here, thank you very much. Love you always. Happy New Year. 2026 is not only our year, but it's your year as well. Believe that. It absolutely will be. Don't worry about it. But love you guys. Thank you very much. We'll be talking to you soon. And bye-bye.